Greetings, dear listener. Today we're going to talk about the costs associated with podcasting. Any company that claims all-in-one or free, be wary of those buzzwords because they're probably, just think of them as lies because that's not true. If you want to have a podcast that's an actual podcast roaming the internet ether, available on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, like the actual podcast distributors that all the major podcasts distribute through. If you want to be an actual podcast, you're going to have to spend some money, and you're going to have to spend some money in order to sound professional. But you don't need to spend a whole lot of money, and you can do it in a cost-effective way depending upon where your budget's at. Like, for example, this is the Shure SM7B. I would not recommend you start off with this microphone. You don't need this right away. This is just because I love this microphone and had the income at the time to get it, so I got it, But you don't need this microphone. You can get a condenser microphone for about $60, and you can make it sound pretty good. A USB condenser microphone might be exactly what you need to start off. But anyway, there we go. There's an area where you're going to have to spend some kind of money. Equipment, the microphone, a computer, an interface. An interface is just a piece of tech that you hook a microphone like this into it, and it actually records the things you say. But you're also going to need to invest in software. But what is software? Software is the program wherein you're going to process, edit the audio of your recording. I use Logic Pro 10 right now. I've used GarageBand, which comes standards with Mac. Some software programs are free. I remember when I had a PC, I downloaded Audacity for free. So there are ways to find what you need in order to edit this that may not actually cost money, but I love Logic Pro 10. I really do. And the reason I love it is because it allows me to do so much more with the audio to make it sound professional. And that gets at the heart of the idea of spending money or not spending money. You're not spending money just to spend it, just to pretend like you're this real podcaster. You spend money thoughtfully on equipment and software that is actually going to improve the quality and experience of the show. And you do this for the listener. And that quality builds this kind of underlying trust between you and your listener. And it's also fun for them to hear the show gradually evolve and get better just in their ears over the course of the life of your show. Another cost that's less obvious than hardware or software is hosting. Where is the actual feed for your podcast going to live so that it's accessible to distributors like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify to distribute it out to the world? Where does the actual file live? Well, it lives with what's called a media host. Libsyn is the company that I use. Stands for Liberated Syndication. They've been around forever. And what happens is the file, like the MP3 of your actual podcast, you've recorded it, you've edited it, it's all done, it's all ready to distribute to the world. Well, where do you put it? You put it in Libsyn, and they hold the feed for your show, and that's what all these other distributors pull from. They pull from your feed from Libsyn or wherever you are housing that episode with whatever media host that you have. I think of Libsyn as like a parking garage. Like there's all these different parking garages. There's all these different companies that would, house your show, that would let you park your show in their garage. And I've chosen Libsyn just because I like them and I trust in them, and they have a great knowledge base. So my show, both of them, the 5 films and the Work of Wrestling, are parked inside Libsyn. And so long as I pay for my spot, that I'm allowed a spot to stay on the internet. So that's something else to keep in mind. Even when you're not podcasting, let's say you're on a hiatus, you are still going to have to pay for the right for all the old episodes to still be streamed. So to podcast independently is a commitment, potentially lifelong commitment to spending money each month so that these episodes are available forever. And if you can't afford them, then the entire show would have to be taken out of Libsyn and would remove from the internet. So that's why it's very important to be thoughtful about going into this. Know what you're getting into. Know that you're getting into an actual potential lifelong bill of sorts, just so that you and your words are going to be heard and distributed throughout the internet. To allay some of your concerns about that, there is one workaround though. With media hosts, at least with Libsyn, whenever I'm not producing new episodes, I can drop my payment plan down to the lowest level, which is just $5 a month. So I can handle $5 a month. And that's whenever I'm on hiatus or I don't have new episodes to upload. But when one of my shows is active and I want to be uploading, big files at least 4 times a month, I just need to increase the payment plan to accommodate that size, the size of the files. Another thing you can do is compress your audio file, your MP3, down and down and down in order to avoid having to spend more money to your media host. But the thing about that is that's going to sacrifice the quality, the audio quality of the show. So go into podcasting knowing that there's going to be some kind of monetary cost and that it's going to be a give and take. There's no perfect all in one free everything. There is going to be a certain amount of you needing to take the time to learn what it is you want to do, learn where you can spend money, where you can afford to do it, where you can't, and then make decisions based upon what you can and cannot do. And know that it is a commitment, but it's not anything I would say that's too much of a strain. It's not anything that don't be stressed about this. Be excited by this because podcasting is a lot of fun. And once you learn these nuts and bolts things, and once you wrap your mind around what they mean, like what a media host is, what kind of software and hardware you need, and then it just becomes a matter of spending in a way that doesn't break your bank and also doesn't sacrifice the quality of your show. And you'll leave with a deeper appreciation for this medium. Alrighty, thank you very much for listening to me. Go to ftkail.com to sign up for my newsletter. Watch one of my other videos on podcasting, and that about does it. Go out there and find yourself your moment of pop.